and inclusion in the private sector.
One of the managers. This is I'm retiring in 5 days. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Don't tear up my floor.
They're on your side. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Okay. What you want to get? I'm going to get
Go ahead and shot.
And we were there with you last week.
So, yep.
Yeah.
And you're going to make piano lessons.
Yes, you got a piano next.
Legend, God.
Yes, sir.
Where we meet at?
Hey, D, go to...
Y'all need any assistance?
Well, I'm getting some hamburger meat, some eggs, and some chicken. With the help of our Sharpton.
National Action Network. How you doing?
You got any?
All right.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Are you eating on the job?
Watch your back, sir. Watch your back.
We left everybody in Sharpton. Our position has been, we announced on Martin Luther King holiday in a big rally we had in Washington, that we're going to, in 90 days, release a boycott list all over the country. But in the interim, we're going to do a boycott. We're going to go and support those that support diversity. And you must remember these DEI programs are not only for blacks, it's for LGBTQ, it's for disabled, it's for veterans. So our position is very simple. If you do not want to commit that you will have diversity in your workforce, diversity on your board, diversity on your C-suite, then why would you want to have diversity among your consumers?
Yeah, there's some in the black and brown community that say if you boycott stores that sell our products, that actually hurts us.
Tabitha Brown in particular said this.
Well, but I think that is like saying in segregation time that if you fight for desegregation, I'm going to lose my job that is unfairly paid and unfairly done. We want black businesses to prosper, but we don't want them to prosper at the expense of dealing with the larger issue. We should take those companies and support them, put them online. We'd rally for them. We'd have buyouts with them. They should be calling us rather than trying to defend people who may give them shelf space, but will not guarantee that for the community. So there's a way to make both things happen at the same time. If Mr. Trump and his supporters can tell you you cannot make sure that you have a diversified workforce, then they can't make a law to make us shop and spend our money where we're not guaranteed that there's going to be fairness. Diversity programs started because there was bias against those communities. Now you're going to tell me when we're trying to correct the bias that you're going to penalize the companies? No, I don't think so.
Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, and Professor Carl Tone Jones. And somebody go get your uncle. Somebody go get your uncle. Your uncle don't understand business. Your uncle don't understand diversity, equity, and inclusion. Your uncle don't understand who are the main benefactors of DEI. Your uncle don't understand a lot of things. Your uncle is purely moving off of emotion. And Costco must be his favorite store. That's why he chose to go walk around Costco, because that wasn't a buy-in, because they didn't buy anything. That was a walk around. But we're going to break down Al Sharpton's ideas around this, but also looking at his brand of leadership. In my opinion, I think his brand of leadership is some of the leadership that has hurt the Black community. It's reactive. It's nonsensical a lot of times. I don't know what's the end goal of this. We're going to boycott those. We're going to boycott specific businesses, but we're going to support other businesses. You can be racist, but support DEI and you cool. But also, it's just like he's not understanding. Like, we already did the other video looking at white women and LGBTQ being two of the main groups that benefited from DEI. And he's talking about, DEI being taken away. And as a Black man who's supposed to be a leader in the Black community, he's fighting. It's like he's fighting for these other communities harder than he's fighting for us, because DEI didn't help us like that. But once again, we're going to break down this particular boycott buy-in, but also take a look at him as a leader. Because in my opinion, I think he's what's wrong with Black America. He's a part of the degrading of Black America. So we're gonna go there. So Pat, you got them looks on your face when I'm saying this stuff, man. So like you saw the walk around. They went in Costco and they walked around, and then you heard him defending his position. What you got to say about this? What's on your mind? What do you think about Al Sharpton and his defense of his boycott buy-ins? Because I was looking at your face at the bottom of the screen, looking at your face as they were going by. I was like, yeah.
Well, they should, they should put their stuff online.
What? You don't understand business. But we're gonna get to that.
Yeah, they should put their stuff online. Never mind the millions of dollars that they would lose out on, that they would have to pay to pull their stuff out of stores, transport them to storage, place them in storage, inventory management, shipping them out when they do get sales online. Never mind the difficulty of driving traffic to your website on the internet nowadays. It ain't as simple as just creating one of them WW pages and people just flood your store. I don't know. Maybe he's thinking it's still like that, because it was at one point when not a lot of people had computers or the internet. But in 2025, where there are almost as many websites as people, it ain't that simple. So Al Sharpton is a relic of the past, and he's not even a particularly good relic. I don't agree with much any of his viewpoints with regards to, even with his viewpoint of what was he talking about? The argument is akin to saying segregation did harm to segregation. Go ahead.
So basically saying, though, like people like the Lip Bar and Tabitha Brown, who have businesses in Target, Black-owned businesses in Target, who are getting sales in Target, them saying don't boycott Target because you're going to hurt our businesses. That's akin to the people who in the civil rights movement who were working in those companies that were not about segregation. Because it sounded like that's what it was going to, the Black argument was for the segregated places.
It was all around a weak argument.
But I'm like, if the places were segregated, how do Black people work then?
Well, I think the way I interpreted it was he was trying to say we shouldn't support, or we shouldn't have. There were people saying we shouldn't have supported segregation or desegregation, because that would have cost Black businesses that were operating in spaces who would have been threatened by opening up the market. But Mr. Uncle Al, Mr. Sharpton, That is exactly what happened when we desegregated.
Well,
All of those black businesses, well, not all of them, but a good chunk of them vanished. That's a real live thing. So he's saying we shouldn't sacrifice the larger issue for these people. Okay, but these people are the larger issue. You're sacrificing the larger issue for people that are not even a part of the community.
right.
Like you're sacrificing the black larger issue for the minority larger issue. So, and then don't even let me really get started on the veterans angle, because one, I get veterans are a part of DEI, I get it, but I do want to address this because people are bringing it up, trying to bring in a new swell of support for DEI, and I want to let y'all know that that's not going to work. It's not going to work, and it was pushed out of the lane of something that was actionable the moment that people looked at the executive order that ended a lot of the DEI hiring freezes and stuff like that started a lot of that stuff, and saw that the VA was exempt from it. And understand that veterans, while they are included, are in a separate space in American culture and society. So, but I just wanted to say that. But as far as what Al Sharpton is saying here, and even then walking around, I had a problem with a lot of this. I'm trying to be polite.
I know you did.
I had a problem with a lot of this. I know PC got to cook up, but here's a little thing. I'll say it's a little thing that bothered me. So he walked through Costco, created a whole scene, which that's a whole other thing. We could probably do a whole show on the ineffectiveness and in fact the negative effect of celebrities showing up. It's not a good thing to anybody except those watching, because if you're actually in that moment, it's disruptive. But the old man walking in front of Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton could have walked around that man. Al Sharpton could have kept walking slowly behind that man. Al Sharpton could have done any number of things. But instead, the person in front of Al Sharpton filming the whole thing told the old man to watch out. It's essentially get out of the way.
Yep.
I felt like that is a great analogy.
Yeah.
I don't even got to finish it. That was a great analogy for everything that happens.
It's about me, not the people. Because it's like out of all because the first criticism that he got, the early criticism was, well, if you're going to do a buy-in, why do a buy-in at Costco? Well, because Costco refused to let go of their DEI policies. Okay, let's ask it again. Why choose Costco over black-owned businesses? And the answer is, well, because Costco didn't end their DEI programs. Clearly your receptors are not receiving, and you're not listening to what I'm saying, and you're not listening to what you're saying, because you're telling the black community, hey, don't mess with these white businesses, but mess with this white business. But then we're gonna release a list of businesses that we should support. No, the first thing you should have did was march people down to black-owned businesses. But we know why you didn't. It's all a stunt. If we're talking about race hustlers, that's the word that the right like to use, race hustlers. Here you go. But before I get deeper, man, PC, it's time to cook, man. Y'all go ahead, pull your bowls up. And sitting the Indian style, soup is about to be served, so it's time to cook. Man, what do you think about this, man?
I want y'all to all know something, man. Me and Pat really don't know how the show's gonna go when it starts off. Like, we don't rehearse none of this shit. I just need y'all to all know that. So y'all get all original content here. Like
Yeah.
nothing rehearsed, staged, or anything. Like
I know what I be doing. I know what I be doing.
so y'all make sure y'all click that subscribe button,
Please.
and share this content, please.
Please.
All right. Yeah, why you do this to me, Joe?
Man.
Why you do this, bro?
I was watching it and it pissed me off. So I was like, we need to be pissed off together.
Oh, damn. The funny thing is, I'm not really pissed off because after a while, the shenanigans of Al Sharpton and those like him, charlatans like him,
good word.
The people who continue to be his loyal followers, they deserve what they get. At the end of the day, this man's been doing this since the 60s, since the 70s. So, he's been in it for a long time. I mean, you hear the mafia guys talk about him, and the mafia guys had him on the payroll, and then he was wearing a wire. So he was wearing a wire prior to the work that he was recorded doing for the mafia. So who was he serving then? So to put in perspective, right? And Costco is a co-op. It's not really owned. It's owned by the shareholders, the stakeholders. But we know the majority of the stakeholders that have ownership in Costco are wealthy people. That's neither here nor there. But I agree with you. Like, why would you go and to a white-owned establishment? That's what most of the, forget who's all working in there. We know black folk ain't the major investors in Costco. And showcase your protest against the DEI crisis or whatever you want to call it, instead of fraternizing and patronizing these black businesses, for which New York has its fair share of black-owned businesses. New York has black bookstores. New York has black
it's a lot.
Stores. Like you got places in New York. They even have their own open street markets in New York. Why not go to those and tell black people to teach black people how to start building what was called group economics and utilizing group economic skills? The whole concept around the DEI thing is nothing more but a publicity stunt. This whole situation in the store was a photo op. It didn't solve any problems. And I think that as black people, we need to start questioning why we are okay with the whole showcasing of having an emotional reaction to something without being able to put it in perspective from a problem solving, or creating problem solving solutions to these situations and circumstances. I think that's more so what I really drew from this. Al Sharpton at this point is a character.
Yes.
In regards to all of these different things, he's sort of an avatar for what this stuff is. But the main problem is he's a symptom, but the main problem is black folk don't control their own interests. So you wouldn't have to worry about DEI, which benefits black people least of all anybody, and black men least of everybody.
Right. Right.
And white women are the primary beneficiaries of DEI. You're defending white women who voted overwhelmingly majority to put the man in the White House who's eliminating all the DEI programs.
Because they know they still gonna be straight by their white men.
Well, that's part of it, and they understand the collective sacrifice in order to maintain power in their community. They understand there's a role. We don't seem to so we don't, and I get frustrated with this, man, because I do read the comments, right? Because I want to see how the message is taken. Most people tell us we don't know what the hell we're talking about, which okay. But it speaks to the fact that there was symbolism. We don't think on a frequency high enough to truly comprehend the or comprehend the things we need to do or know, or the know-how of how to righten our ship. So we'll look at the Al Sharpton stuff, but that's low-hanging fruit. The real issue is the fact that we have not insulated our community to a place where we don't need to worry about DEI. We don't need to worry about affirmative action because we have not insulated ourselves, because we would have insulated ourselves against those things. Prime example, nobody was more upset about the gentrification of Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn, than the Jewish community, because they had rent control housing in those neighborhoods for all that time. So what happened? The stakeholders in the Jewish community decided to buy up apartment buildings around that area. Now, how did they get by the whole notion of rent control? Well, what they did was they made the apartment buildings Section 8 buildings. You know, they made it where you can apply for Section 8 and get housing in their buildings. But they did something ingenious. They put the ads in their newspapers and they put the ads in Yiddish, their language. So only the people who can understand Yiddish knew that that building across the street was offering Section 8 housing. That's not something we can't do, and that's redlining, but legally it's not, because they put it in the newspaper. They advertised it publicly. They just didn't do it in a language you could understand.
Taking care of yourself.
And I mean, anybody could research what I just said, but they take care of their own people. They take care of their own people. And because we're not taking care of our own people, we're always worried about those who are the caretakers of our people. Okay? So, you know, this is one of the things where we have to look in the mirror, because Al Sharpton shouldn't be relevant in this day and age.
At all.
Me and Pat were talking earlier. He was asking his niece who Al Sharpton was. She didn't even know who he was.
She shouldn't know who he is.
Right. So, but that just speaks to the fact that who's following him. You didn't see any young people following him into that store. You saw people who are all geriatric. I'm sorry, my brother's in the background. I tell you, I'm gonna tell you, man, we make this happen at home. My apologies, little brother. We made it so people don't understand, right? We build it while we're building while we're flying. So the whole notion behind us the whole notion behind us trying to build or saying stuff like, you know, we're going to go to Costco's because we're fighting DEI and all this other stuff is meaningless. It's like taking a pebble and throwing it at a granite building and expecting, well, it's 20 of us throwing these pebbles at granite building is not going to change or shake the structure. You have not done anything to move the needle. In fact, you've shown your inefficiency in terms of truly understanding the nature of what you're up against. All right. Going to Costco is not going to free or save the black community. And to go back to something that y'all were talking about earlier, I thought it was a horrible example to go to segregation and use that as an example, because desegregation did destabilize the black financial class, the ability for black people to build wealth. Most importantly, because black people thought white ice was colder, white water was wetter, and so forth. But he had a point.
Man, that man crazy, man.
But black folk chose white when we had the chance to choose right.
But right.
He's still doing it.
Right.
So that's why they went to Costco instead of a black-owned business. And all the time Al Sharpton spent in New York all these years with his, what is it called? Cash Action Network? What is it called?
Action Network, National Action Network.
I know what it's called. But so Why haven't they built up a marketplace? I know brothers in
You know why?
I know brothers in Brooklyn, some Hebrew brothers in Brooklyn who created online marketplaces and things of that nature, and took and tried to build, but nobody would go to their websites. Well, few people.
Pat,
No. I was raising my hand to say I've done that. I've created an online.
Right. Yeah, you've created one. What's the young lady? She's on Instagram.
But I was talking specifically about New York. Because that's where he is. That's where his base is.
Yeah. No, I get you.
But
Pat, right.
But even to look at that though, because excuse me.
See, y'all, we live, y'all. Bless him.
I'm too tickled.
No, he's talking about leaving. So take your products out of these stores, excuse me, and put them online. So Melissa Butler of the Lip Bar already addressed this a while ago, right? Like you said, Pat, they have what we call contracts. And someone like the Lip Bar, she was in Target before the DEI stuff, right? But whether they were in before, during, or after COVID or whatever, right? There's something called contracts, but you
got to explain what a contract is.
A contract is a binding agreement to say we're going to do this and you're going to do that for this number of years.
And by binding, he means legally enforceable.
So, but also we're talking about the products because as you talked about earlier, he was saying, well, they can put their products online. Well,
oh my God,
you clearly don't know business. Like Melissa Butler has already addressed this, right? So, and Pat said it earlier. So, online, I can sell 3,000 units. At Target, I can sell 300,000 units. I've already signed a contract to sell 300,000 units.
But before we go any further, Joe, can we acknowledge that black people don't necessarily support black people just because they're black? Can we acknowledge how many businesses have tried to? Black people become the most finicky shoppers.
Right.
When it's time to spend their money, they'll tell you how to sell or put your project. Oh, you know what I would do? I would do this. You know what I would do this. I would do that. But as soon as you do, well, I mean, I ain't gotta buy it.
Well, wait. Because black people will support a black business as long as it's powered by white something.
Yeah.
Black people can be the face.
Oh, well, they like Patti LaBelle's pies, Patty's pies. But
the face. And even with titles, Jay-Z was the face.
Right.
Well, and speaking of Jay-Z, they're about to support the business of his wife, who has concert tickets were like $3,000.
$1,000, yeah. Pink book on
yeah. Oh boy.
But we're talking about online. The online platforms can't handle the bulk load that they can in the brick and mortar places, right? That's why they're in those places so they can, because Target gave them a platform to grow their businesses and sell more, and they have contracts. So just because Al Sharpton come around and say he don't like what's going on with the DEI thing, it's not that simple, Al Sharpton. They can't just turn around and be like, well, I'm gonna quit tomorrow and it's on over. And you don't have the money to support the buy. Won't you buy them out? Won't you buy them out? And then you create a brick and mortar, and then you give them an equal platform to target.
But that's what they need.
Yeah.
Instead of doing a walk around, you went in the goddamn store and walked around.
I mean,
I didn't see him buy nothing.
He damn sure didn't. He even got on somebody for eating on the job. Like I'll remember how you used to be.
He was trying to smash. He was trying to smash.
You remember how much you used to weigh, Al? So at that
y'all ain't right.
He still had the slick. He was smooth with it.
Y'all ain't right.
So and what's funny though, because I mean I ain't trying, and it's bad because I still don't like. He's not necessarily elder; he's older, but I still try to hold a reserve respect for his years on this planet. But it's kind of, so I'm not really trying to go at him as much as the whole concept of what that particular staging represented. And I think that, I mean, we could talk till we blue in the face. We've been talking about black ownership. We've been talking about black people supporting black people since, you know, I mean, since the Freedom Train Network. So, you know what I'm saying? We've been on it for a minute, but the problem is a lot of people do not care. And we talked about the fact that black folk are comfortable. And damn it, if their comfort is disturbed. I mean, like, you know, we talked, Pat, you started a social media network. We keep going over that. And the black people that was in the group that the name of the social media network was named after didn't even fraternize the social media platform that was created. All right. Yes, I'm talking about you, urban intellectuals.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Ouch.
So, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know,
me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
So when we talk about how I got my whole soundboard is full. I got some new stuff too. But so when we talk about this, the way that and y'all notice I'm breathing regularly right now. I want to see y'all in the comments talking about all that other anyway. So
PC, who in the comments? Somebody's bothered you in the comments, bro.
It's one in particular. She used my name. She named name. But anyway, I'm being petty tonight. But today, I mean today when y'all watch this at 1 o'clock, I'm being petty. So the whole notion behind the audacity, like black people get on my nerves because I think I did that without actually saying the word, but
I know
like that. How many times do we have to get it? Like, how many times do we like? Well, 2007 came around. Black people said, "I ain't voting no more," and we gave up on a political process, and they paraded Barack Obama out there. And black people said, you know, the dream and the faith and all that other crap. Okay, black people started getting back into politics. Okay, they know how to rope us in. But then when it comes to like our situations and struggles, the whole world shut down in 2000. For the first time, I checked with all the elders who've been around for nearly 100 years. They said they had never seen anything like this in the world in their time. The whole world shut down. Everybody had a chance to start from zero. Black people sit around and complain about being on house arrest, complain about being stuck in the house and not being able to go outside. Can we go outside for recess? I saw all the jokes and all the things of that nature. They turned to social media and decided, you know what? I'm going to turn my Facebook storyline and IG storyline into advertisements for a certain type of video, a certain type of social media that, you know, you can make a lot of money off of. Okay. I watched how black people felt rescued because DJs were out there putting out full mixes, right? And then the versus competition became the thing. But not one fucking time did we ever say, you know what? Let's take this time to reorganize and become self-sufficient. You know why? Because at that particular time, we were begging for schools to stay open so children who didn't have access to food would at least get access to 2 meals a day. There was no other community begged the school system to stay open during COVID but us.
PC, you forgot. Black people were supposed to resurrect when we went to see Black Panther.
Oh my God! Oh, but we was Wakanda forever. But when it comes,
because Pat, we had a whole show about that. Black people were supposed to. Black Panther was supposed to resurrect the black spirit, and black people were supposed to be better black people because they watched Black Panther.
And then we were supposed to get superpowers,
right? And then that didn't happen. So when COVID came around, I think we was disappointed. So that's why Black people didn't choose to do nothing because we was like, Black Panther didn't save us, and then we didn't get our own superpowers. So we just gonna sit around.
But the point I'm getting to is because I gotta stay on this, man. Wesley Muhammad said in the buck breaking movie he did with Tariq Nasheed.
Yeah,
and I forgot who he quoted, but it identified all the men in the world, and it identified as black men as the female of all the men. Now, as a black man who hears something like that, I got to address it with my brothers because our public image is that of us in the skirt.
Right.
Is that of us out here being like RuPaul. You know what I'm saying? That's our public image in regards to respectability amongst a global network of men. So when we have a society that every single time it breaks down, we're beggars. We're beggars at the table. At what point do you stop begging?
Well,
at what point do you not feel comfortable on your knees?
We will never get there following people like Al Sharpton. Like the fact that.
But you saw who was following Al Sharpton.
Exactly, the olders.
Right. They never taught the youngers how to live independently, even amongst other groups of people, how to become self-sufficient, how to have their own networks. And I understand the history of being at war within a society and a society warring on you. But that means if you're warring, you're fighting back.
Right.
If you're warring, you're creating a situation where you have rations to serve your community in the darkest and coldest times. So at what point?
A coward not gonna do that, and that's a lot of old cowards in our community that bred young cowards and young, foolish, ignorant cowards. A lot of black people are afraid to stand up. A lot of it's fear and comfort.
What this takes me to is there are very few of us who, when the heroes or the sheroes showed up on the plantation, there were very few of us that was ready to go.
Right.
The mass number of black descendants in this country are the descendants of the ones who chose to stay, are the descendants of the ones who chose to snitch on people like Denmark Vesey. That's the vast majority of the descendants that we have in this country of black people.
I'm just saying, you're right. Because why? I mean,
so why are we always trying to build with them?
We shouldn't be trying to build with them,
because these the always try to guilt us into doing something for them when they don't want to work for themselves.
But I don't, well,
they're the ones getting behind Al Sharpton going to the fucking store. I
put it to you like this. So we know we need critical mass. We know we need critical mass. Look at Pat. Yeah, he mad, Pat. Yeah, he said it. He said go to the store. He said it. Now I gotta write that down. 39.
I was looking at it. I didn't see you writing. I was like,
I wrote it down. But I mean, we have spirit. We have the mind and the spirit of slaves. That's what we have. And unfortunately, we've been beat down for so long. It's just all for the majority of us. That gumption has been beaten out of us. That will has been beaten out of us, and so they just scrapping and scraping at anything, because it's like the people who are starving on the side of the road for so long, and a little hush puppy fall off a cart, and you got that hush puppy in your hand, and that hush puppy turned to a whole gourmet feast because you're starving for something so much. But behind you is a field of wheat. Behind you is a whole field of wheat, and you're starving, but you wait till a hush puppy drop off a cart to eat.
Well, I love the analogy. I think I'm gonna say this to to the rest of my colors. I don't, because I think on the one hand, there is definitely, we've had a lot of the fight beaten out of us, and we've had a lot of those people that did fight. Like we just got to be honest. It's a reason why they stand out in history, and they stand out because they're not like us.
And it was a few
of them. Yeah, they're different. They are the difference. But you know, so I think that's on one hand. And I think PC and I were having, and I think it ended up bleeding into one of the shows, a very interesting conversation about those of us that do have fight left. You know, where does that come from? So, but I think one of the things that is really interesting is, I say all the time, our superpower is our adaptability.
Mm-hmm.
We fought our way out of slavery, right? And so we would argue that we're not slaves anymore.
Physical slaves.
And, well, yeah, and there's a lot of truth to that. We aren't slaves anymore, like, because slaves are the ones that fought themselves out of slavery. Like, those were slaves that did that. So nowadays we look at it and we say, well, we've come far from where we were. We're terrified of going back. So we're terrified of pushing too hard because we know we could end up back there. But at the same time, we're scared of trying to keep going forward, which it ends up being a loop. We're scared of pushing forward because we end up getting pushed back, and we're scared of going back because we don't want to go back. So we're paralyzed. And then that's where visionaries come in. Those people that can look out at the future, see a brighter one, and direct us there. The problem we have nowadays is that we're terrified of our own visionaries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and that I think is the greatness, the insidious maliciousness of white supremacy, is that it's made us terrified of the black visionary.
See, the visionary can do something with that, feel the wheat behind them.
Yes.
But if I start cultivating the wheat behind me, then they won't drop off any more hush puppies.
Right. And that's that cycle, though, of being afraid. If I push too hard, things will change too much. And things have changed so much, and they're so much better now. I don't really want them to change, but I want to raise enough hell so that things don't go backwards. So black people really are in a holding pattern.
Right. But you know, now if we want to do the comparison thing, right? So looking at a country, at a country versus a country.
Which country? Can it be Wakanda?
It could if it was real.
Okay.
But this time
we gotta look at a real country.
We're gonna go with Taiwan.
Okay, Taiwan, and can it be the other one? Be Madagascar?
It can, if you want it to be.
Okay.
You're excited about that, so. but you know, but looking at how Taiwan is described now and how it's respected now because of what they did for themselves. They literally pulled themselves out of the gutter of the Asian continent and went from the laughing stock of the Asian continent to one of the four dragons, is one of the four most respected countries. But it was the self-sufficiency of the group of people. Now, of course, they're different.
It was also TSMC, but go ahead.
All that Team Ninja Turtles and all that. So, I'm saying that with the understanding of they have not been programmed the same way we were programmed. So they're not working from behind the 8 ball as far as to throwing off those mental chains. They're throwing off. Their mental chains are different from us. They were not chattel slaves, right? They had other types of things working against them, but they were not chattel slaves. But we can't continue to use that as an excuse as to why we can't do anything, especially when we have examples in this country of people coming out of slavery who did things on a collective level. That's why the KKK and all those other groups rolled after Reconstruction. That's why Reconstruction was such a short period of time, because black people was making gains.
No, we don't. We don't have those examples. You have those examples. PC has those examples. I have some of those examples, but we as a collective community don't have those examples.
We got Al Sharpton.
We do have Al Sharpton. We do. And his good friend Jesse Jackson, and all the rest of them. But we don't, because you got to remember, like when we're talking about our collective consciousness, the greatness of what is black people coming out of slavery, the greatness of what is black people resisting slavery, that doesn't exist in our collective consciousness.
Oh yeah, you're right. It don't even hold. It's not even space for it.
Man, what do we have? Right, we got people going to work calling it the plantation. That just tells you where the mindset is. And most Negroes in the plantation want to work to be the highest Negro in the plantation. That's why we have people who are more astute about titles and more astute about the letters behind their names than rather. And I fucking work there. I see it every day.
Yeah.
That is the prestige that Negroes are seeking. How high in master's house can I rise? It's not about building our own shit. And so when you this is why I push back against people who say black people need education. No, because the education is indoctrination for what's taking place with us. And those people who have not yet been descendants, because we're the fighters. And I don't know what it'll take to make these cats fight.
Nothing.
I don't know what it would take.
Nothing.
I think many of them are like the proverbial toad that's in the pot with the water steadily rising, and they think it's a nice warm bath. And many of them have been lulled to sleep in pursuit of their deaths. I think that most of them, and I say them because it's not us. They're not like us. Most of them, they don't have the gumption or the depth within themselves. Like the well within them is ankle level deep, if it's that deep at all, in terms of what gumption they have to mount any type of resistance to what's going on around them. Any type. So, I mean, most black people don't recognize gentrification at its earliest stages. When they start renewing the street lights and the street signs, when they start repairing the transit stations and the transit hubs, when they start repairing the streets, when they start putting nice playgrounds in, when they start building up around, they don't even recognize those signs because they're that far removed from trying to have an ideology of freedom, an ideology of liberation, of independence from a system that they depend on. How can you be at war with a system you depend on? And that's the biggest fight we have right now. You can't be at war with a system you depend on. So if I'm depending on somebody for Section 8 housing, if I'm depending on somebody on this because I need Medicare and Medicaid, if I'm depending on this because I need welfare and food stamps, if I'm depending on this because I need to have, I need to have milk and all these other products for my children. If I'm dependent on this, free lunch because I'm not able to provide lunch for my child at school. If I'm dependent on free public education instead of going to a cohort of my own people to help educate my children and actually take an active part in the education because I myself don't have the faith and confidence that I can teach my children. When you are dependent on your enemies to teach your children, as Malcolm X said, you are a fool. And we have a nation full of fools.
Hey.
With no motivation to get off of the lamb.
Because see, the glory is in the whiteness.
Or the proximity to it.
Right. So that's what going back to, Alvin. We got to have diversity on the boards. We got to have diversity in the C-suites. We'll start your own business.
Diversity it's just what you just said, Joe. If they got 1,000 businesses, then we need to have at least what is it, 13? Our number need to be about 15% of that for us because that's what we would need for our own community to survive.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm just aggravated with black people who keep complaining about how white people structure their companies.
Well, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry because
go ahead.
I'm just saying because I see it on Facebook every day. Y'all done let him get elected, and they mostly pointing at black men. Y'all done let him get elected. Now look at all these things he's shutting down. Look at all this stuff he's shutting down. And I'm like, wow, a lot of this stuff on this list I kind of agree with.
No, but
from a lot of this stuff, I didn't vote for Trump, but hey, some of this stuff he ain't doing it for us, but it still benefits us in some ways. So, when we start looking at a lot of the things, the dismantling of the IRS, I don't have no problem with that. The IRS been bullying people for a long time.
Man, look, how long have black people
their own damn rules on them tax returns?
How long have Black America complained about the education system in this country? And he wants to do something about it, and we're mad at him doing what we asked. That's the irony and the idiocy in what's going on, and that's how people are caught up in their emotions. They're not thinking. We've been screaming for the government to change these institutions for the longest. Somebody come by and want to change them, and now y'all mad that they want to be changed.
Well, they're mad because the change is happening isn't a change from a person that they want it from.
Grow up.
But it wouldn't have changed had they got the one they wanted in office.
Well, I think, but we know we know that we talked about this a few shows back. Black displeasure with America has become a core function of black expression in America. Like you're not black if you cool with America. That's what this is turning into. You're not black.
You're not black if you're not cool with America the way we want you to be cool with America.
Right.
Because you could be cool. You could be against America and be a Republican and you still racist as a black person.
But that's what it means when we're looking at a world. And PC, you asked a great point. How can you be at war with a system you depend on? Unfortunately, you can. We see it all the time, and cytokine storms became a very popular term during the COVID era. The immune system over-responding to a threat and going to war with itself. Various forms of cancer are exactly that, the body going to war with itself. There are lots of different things going on where the problem is most times when you go to war with a system you depend on, you're committing suicide.
Well, we're not even going to war. The war is some idea. That's why I say and I agree what you're saying, but that's why I'm saying we can't, and I'm saying we can't from our standpoint because we Black Americans cannot go to war against the system that is supporting us because we don't have that mental capacity or that will to do that. We're not going to turn against the hand that feeds us.
Well, I think the point that I make is I don't give black people that much credit in terms of like saying we're actually going to war.
We're not.
No, what's happening is, again, I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. I don't read the comments, so I don't know what y'all saying. But I'm assuming there's people in the back and they need me to say it again. So ranting and raving and railing, what Al Sharpton just did was basically showcase his blackness. That's all he did.
I'm black.
What all black people want, like, and we see it even in the feedback to the Super Bowl concert, right? I wish he would have done more. I wish he would have done more. The expression of displeasure for American society is a core component of black culture. That's what it means to be black for a lot of these Negroes.
Hey,
And that's all you got to do.
Buddy Lucky, I know him and got because Buddy was this close to becoming a breakdown. He was this close to becoming a break. I still might do it.
Don't do that. That's your good friend, man.
But no.
Let me and PC do it.
I set it up, but it's just like we got to we have to be realistic.
Breakdowns on people I know. Hell yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's a fact. Actually, you be having PC break down his people all the time.
Hey, no, well, to be fair, PC people be tripping.
Yeah, well, not your friend was tripping though.
Stop associating with those type of people.
Okay, so we gonna boomerang that right back around to you.
But you know, that video that I put it in the group chat, and I was like, "This is crazy," because the idea of a rapper confronting white supremacy, a rapper who's a Grammy winner, who's making money in the industry, who's flourishing in the music industry, who has Grammys, who's performing at the Super Bowl, is going to confront white supremacy on behalf of the black community. Really?
Josh Johnson said something really interesting. And he's hit or miss, but in this one, I felt like he hit pretty good.
Who is this?
Josh Johnson. He's a comedian. He's
yeah, okay.
In my opinion, yeah, he's the up and coming like George Carlin.
Yeah.
He's in that vein.
Yeah.
But he said art can save lives, but entertainment can never be your salvation. And I liked it because it's potent. Like for the individual, art can really make a difference, and it can really wake people up and give them in the form of expression, and it can really change your life and save your life as an individual. But the moment you start looking for artists to save you as a society or as a culture, you can't do it. It's not, that's not what it's designed for.
But and it's relevant to this because it's like Al Sharpton is like an entertainer.
He's not like Al Sharpton is an entertainer.
And but he's already proven that he can't save, and people are still following. But once again, it's those older people who that I don't know what's up here, but it all go together because we're starving. Even though the field of wheat is behind us, wheat just flowing in the wind, slapping them in the back of the neck. We're still sitting there waiting on them to drop that hush puppy on the ground. Still waiting on, we're still waiting on somebody to save us. Somebody black, somebody white, somebody come save us from this white man because we refuse to do what we need to do. And we expect all the people who are not supposed to be saving us to save us.
I honestly don't think people think that deeply into it. I don't think the majority of people who this is entertainment to them. This is something to pass the time. This is a life. This is not a lifestyle. This is a hobby for most people. They'll turn to it. So the same way that DEI things started getting passed off and people started dropping, this company started dropping DEI, and the emotional response was, well, let's go to Costco. They didn't do it. Then you got, it's like when people were mad at Starbucks. We're going to start frequenting black owned coffee shops. But why weren't you frequenting black coffee shops prior to? Why weren't you going to, let's just say you chose Costco. Why weren't you going to Costco prior to? Why weren't you? It's just like we have to, there's always a reason why it's like we need that push to momentarily have us support our own people. And then it fades. Yeah. I told y'all last week, was it 2 weeks ago? I said by the time the Super Bowl halftime show was over, most people wouldn't even be talking about DEI. I think we might be the last ones talking about it. But
yeah,
I mean, people don't care until it costs them. Now, if people are losing their jobs, then they might care.
Costco got one black person on their board.
Well,
Because that's enough.
well, I was just using it as an example. I'm just saying
you just made me go look.
Yeah. You know, the way we are designed, we've been socially engineered, is to move in that direction, is to move like that. We're comfortable until we're uncomfortable, but we want to go back to being comfortable. You know, I mean,
Costco's board is full of white men and white women.
Let me say this, and even to what I said earlier about Josh Johnson, because that was underhanded, and I apologize. When I said he's hit or miss, that was unnecessary, because I do like Josh Johnson. I think he's a very intelligent young man and a brilliant comedian. I really do enjoy his work. So there was no need for me to take the little jab I took. I didn't mean it as a jab, but it could come off that way.
Bad.
So yeah, absolutely. Bad Pat. Absolutely. But I do agree with PC, and that's the point that I keep harping on, and I love that he stated it another way. When I say that these things are just expressions of Black culture, that's purely it's purely entertainment. It's in the now. It is me. It's the proverbial monkey standing up and beating his chest. That's what it is. It don't mean nothing in the moment. It could mean something if other moments follow through and force some other sort of action. But we all know that American society has mastered the art of freezing Black people in that chest beating moment. They know how to stall us out. They know how to get us into a tailspin, whip us into a frenzy, and then stop it. You know, the economy is not doing well right now. And they really do need people, because spending money spurs the American economy. Thanks, Al Sharpton. We appreciate you and all your buy-ins. You're doing a wonderful job stimulating the American economy and continuing to maintain the transfer of Black wealth into white hands. You're doing a great job, Al Sharpton.
I'm not disagreeing with you all on the thing, but it's like the entertainers, that the people in those lanes, they have this influence, and especially they have a hold on these YNs. That's the new word that they call them, the young crazy Black folk. It's a new word for thug. Let me write that down. Okay, because I said, but the YNs, right? but also like the olders, because like we mentioned it earlier. Pinkbook got the video of Beyonce's concert tickets, $1,000. Man, that's not new. People have sold cars and put themselves in debt to do stuff like that because of the appeal and the influence that these stars and these celebrities have. And it's just like, it's ridiculous that they continue to follow people who are leading them nowhere. Yeah. And I don't get, and yes, in the overall real sense, there's no real impact. But on another level, the impact is the personal impact that the person has who's choosing to follow these people. Because at the end of the day, nothing happens, nothing gets better. Like Black America still getting worse, but these fools still following these people and like, yeah, we gonna get change. And okay,
yeah. they don't, and this is probably this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I think people are resigned to their current fate. It's just that when they have to deal with the consequences of being resigned to it, that's when you see the death wells of a society, of a group of people. And I think Black people as a whole, you can go places and say, well, Black people need to get ourselves together, this, that, and the other. But it's always going to be a very small, minute few Black people who are uncomfortable with the current circumstances of Black people. Right. And so because of that, those are the ones that seem to be the ones that are ostracized the most, because you wonder, like you say, we need black people to build, and we need this and to secure a future for black people, especially our children. And you'll find out most people don't really care about their children, let alone a future for black people, because they're comfortable. And when you say stuff like this, you make them uncomfortable. And they want to get back to being comfortable, and they want to get back to the bullshit where we have very low standards for who we are. We live on low, we practice low vibrating frequency, low frequency vibrating behaviors and so forth. And anybody that says that we need to improve the way we deal with each other, now all of a sudden you're talking white, you know what I'm saying? Which tells you furthermore of how they have an inferiority complex to the whole concept of who should be in charge and who should be living a certain way. White people are clean. White people be picking up trash. No, dumbass. Your ancestors taught them how to pick up trash. Your ancestors taught them how to wash and bathe. But you don't know that. You don't care to know that, because washing and bathing might not even be a part of your daily routine. And so, when we hold ourselves to this light, man, and I'm so serious about this. When we hold ourselves and we hold ourselves to the flame, we have to acknowledge that our first level of accountability and reparations starts from within. We can't expect the world to just and I'd be terrified to see what reparations would look like for 95% of the community. In turn, 95% of the community be broke by the end of the year.
Man, look, just echoing what you're saying, man. The critical, so
go. Good. Sorry.
No, you good, man. History has shown us that yes, a critical mass can have an effect. Critical mass can have an impact. But for true long-term, the real change, the real impact that we need, we do need the bulk of black people in America. Like, unfortunately, we do need that. And history has shown us, because you can have critical mass, you can have small factions, they can last for a while. But after a while, numbers matter. And I don't care what nobody say, like, numbers matter. Population matters. And the fact that everybody knows that we're relegated to a critical mass is still another blow. Now, that doesn't mean lay down and act like it's all over. You do what you can with what you have, but just understand that even though we don't believe the masses of us will stand up and do and unite and do anything, but we know we need it. But the critical masses have to be producing, have to be productive. We have to have some kind of tangible outcomes. Some kind of progress has to be made in order for us to be able to be pushing for that critical mass to even be relevant. So let's think about that. We do need everybody, but we at this point, we just need the people who give a damn to be doing something. At this point, let's till the wheat instead of waiting on the hush puppies. Like this video, comment, share, subscribe, like, comment, share, subscribe. After this, of course, FetLifeStation.com. Make sure you check it out. FetLifeStation.com. Make sure you check out thepax.org. Check out our code of conduct. Check out the code of conduct. You'll see why we rock the way we rock. But that's something that we can spread to the mass, that we want to be able to spread to more people. Our code of conduct. And of course, visit ontheshoulders1.com. Thank you all for the support. Please continue to support this channel. Let's grow this channel. The support is going to help Pat, and the work that he's doing in Charlotte is going to help PC, and the work that he's doing in Philly is going to help me in Tallahassee. So let's keep doing it. I appreciate everybody who's been supporting us as a collective and everybody who's been supporting us as individuals. Let's keep it up, and we're gonna keep up our end. So we love you all. We catch y'all on the other side.